Julian's head was looking extra large today. It was partly because of the angle of his screen and partly because he was wearing a puffer vest that swallowed his shoulders. Behind his head, I could see a few elements of a tasteful home office: a lamp, a succulent, a window with the curtains drawn. He was waiting for me to speak, but I let the silence simmer. I looked down, brushed a crumb off the keyboard, looked back up at the screen. Now he was scratching the inside of his ear with his pinky. Julian was English, not in a good way, with a snooty accent and fine, fair, floppy hair. He sported 2 cowlicks and 1 pair of chunky black glasses. To fill the silence, he continued, "It's just this subtle sort of negativity," he said. "Nothing really blatant, just something about her vibe." His glasses were statement glasses, almost Buddy Holly style. But what statement were they making, exactly? They were supposed to announce a maverick braidiness, I guessed, but they instead conveyed a scrambled message, something about wasted midlife effort and lightweight polymer plastics. "Have you tried speaking to her about it?" I asked. "Not directly," he said. "I've tried a few things to improve morale in the team generally, so I'm hoping people are feeling more empowered, more invested." Julian leaned back in his chair. Several long seconds ticked by. It was my 4th session with Julian. At the start, he'd been a giant pain in the arse, complaining about the price of the Evolve package and trying to build in a get-out clause in case he decided early on that the coaching process wasn't constructive. He caved in the end, but we both had to pretend he'd cut a deal, so I offered him bonus reading materials and emailed him 2 PDFs I downloaded from psychology.com, Thought, Emotion, Sensation, and Power of Breath. "I'm a storyteller by trade, Ruth, but I drive a hard bargain," a lofty chuckle. "I'm a tough negotiator." He was the director of a production studio in Sydney called Blaze Productions. It was a company that lived and breathed brand stories, according to its website. Most of their work was for luxury property developments. They made 3D architectural visualizations, fly-through videos, animations, and virtual tours. Fortunately, 4 sessions in, I could see that Julian was more interested in creating a Blaze workplace cult than in achieving any kind of quantifiable goal. Most of the time, he just wanted to vent about his rivals and subordinates, or crap on about his daily habits and routines, or whine about the lingering impacts of COVID on business, or throw around new ideas for talent recruitment and retention like staff well-being initiatives, laser skirmish outings, virtual gaming sessions. Was he finding our sessions constructive? It was hard to tell. He was obsessed with Blaze company culture, but cagey when it came to more personal questions. "I'm not into the tell me about your mother stuff," he'd announced, with air quote fingers, during our first session. "I'm all about the here and now." Maybe he did want to get deep and disgusting, but needed more coaxing. There was something about his appearance, wet lips, busy Adam's apple, that suggested monstrous tastes in pornography, but you can never really tell. "You've talked about Astrid more than anyone else at Blaze in all our sessions together," I said finally. "She seems to be often in your thoughts. I wonder if there is something about Astrid, apart from the negativity you perceive, something Astrid represents, perhaps, that's also at work here." Julian sighed and rubbed his eyes beneath his glasses. "Well," he said after a moment, "it was Tom who brought her into the team. I said, 'Pick your own people, Tom, I want you to have that autonomy.'" He had a way of jerking his head back when quoting himself. I could almost see inside his nose. "But now Tom's gone, and he was the connective tissue, as it were. He'd worked with Astrid before, and he convinced me to offer her a very good salary to get her on board. And look, he was right. She has a great aesthetic, her work is great, it's just that she creates this distance between herself and the rest of the team. She creates this kind of atmosphere." I nodded the empathetic nod, switched tabs and typed, 41 minutes, 7 seconds. Astrid hired by ex-GM Tom in the Julian Pitt file.